He's been extremely fair. The RNC has been absolutely terrific over the last 2-month period. And as you know, that's what I've wanted. I've wanted fairness. The best way for the Republicans to win is if I win the nomination and go directly against whoever they happen to put up. And for that reason, I have signed the pledge.
Yeah. There it is. It happened just shortly before we took to air. Roger Stone, Republican political consultant, and of course the editor of StoneZone.com. Hello again, sir.
Glad to be here.
Good to see you. Okay. Why did Donald Trump, meet with the chairman of the RNC, and why did he feel the need to sign the pledge when previously he wouldn't commit to what he committed to today?
Well, this is the art of the deal. I mean, Donald Trump has run a brilliant stratagem here. Only a month ago, the New York Times was reporting that Rubio, Bush, and Walker's campaigns were in discussions about boycotting the Fox debate if Trump were in it. In 19 states, the Republican bosses, the Republican establishment, can keep Trump off the ballot with the stroke of a pen. It is fresh in the mind of a lot of conservatives, the hardball tactics that were used on Congressman Ron Paul, a Republican congressman who ran for president, changing the rules at the last minute to undo his candidacy. So all Trump really was doing here was, in my opinion, running a bluff, or let's call it a threat, that if he was not given equal access to the process, if he was blocked from the debates, if he was excluded, that he would run as a third-party candidate. In fact, legally, by the end of September, he would have to change his voter registration here in New York State in order to do that. So the truth is, he's given up very little. Now, what did he get in return? 16 career politicians, 16 insiders are now committed to support Trump if he is the nominee. This was a win-win for Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And let me talk about what the RNC did here. You have almost every single Republican candidate trashing Donald Trump, and sometimes it's pretty vicious. If one of them becomes the nominee, can't now the Democratic candidate or nominee use it against him, saying, you were ready to support Donald Trump. Say Donald Trump falls. Say Donald Trump, there's something comes out. Say there's a scandal. Whatever. Now they're committed on paper. They've all signed. I would have supported Donald Trump. Is that a bad situation for a Republican nominee to be in?
I frankly think it's unlikely to be much of an issue, because if that is true, it wouldn't be very germane to the general election.
Okay.
However, Trump is the easy front runner, the overwhelming front runner at this point for the nomination. The fact that we're even talking about him running for a third party shows how brilliant this strategy has been. The folks at the Republican National Committee are wetting their pants about this. They don't know how to stop Trump. He is not beholden to this lobbyist. He's not beholden to the special interests. He's not beholden to the super PAC. He's not beholden to the Koch brothers. He's totally financially independent.
So do they think, you say they're wetting their pants, are they still wetting their pants after this pledge? Because they want to stop him anyway?
Well, I think that they're still unhappy that he's the front runner for the nomination.
Right.
Look, he's the anti-establishment candidate. The Republican National Committee is the establishment. It's not incidental that your last two chairmen leave the committee, become lobbyists, then they come back to the committee, then they go back to being lobbyists. It's the Washington musical chairs. Donald Trump has struck fear in the hearts of the political establishment, both Republican and Democrat in this country, because he's promising real reform. He can't be bought, and he can't be bullied.
All right. I want another controversy that's brewing is because he said to Jeb Bush, who said that Donald wasn't a conservative, but he said it in Spanish to a Spanish audience, I presume. And Donald said, do me a favor, speak English. Oh, you would have thought the world's falling apart. So he addressed that today at his press conference as well. Let's watch.
When you get right down to it, we're a nation that speaks English. And I think while we're in this nation, we should be speaking English. And that's how assimilation takes. And that's how, I mean, whether people like it or not, that's how we assimilate. And that's how we go on to that next phase and that next stage. And that's how people that don't speak English, and I'm not just talking about Spanish, I'm talking about from various parts of the world, that's how they will become successful and do great.
Another winning issue for him?
Certainly within the context of the Republican primaries it is. But the other thing here, which is unspoken, is Jeb Bush has had a tendency to say things in Spanish that he's not saying in English, and therefore they don't get picked up on the mainstream media. He has denigrated Trump in Spanish in ways that he has not in
That's
English.
kind of what the Palestinian leadership does.
Exactly. So in a certain sense, Jeb is busted, and his is a campaign that is moving backwards.
Okay, 30% now for Donald Trump in the latest poll, and Ben Carson rose in that same poll from a month ago, 13 points up to 18%. Again, I mean, we could talk about this over and over and over. This has to be a nightmare for every one of the governors and senators who thought, you know, I have the credentials, I have the you know, to be president of the United States. They're getting nowhere. Do you see this changing at all as time goes on?
No, I don't think it's incidental that the three candidates who don't come from politics are the three candidates moving up: Trump, Carson, and Fiorina. Now that I think of it, Carson's a pretty attractive ticket.
Trump Carson, okay, but you know, Donald had talked about picking a woman. Do you think he would feel pressure based on previous statements, or to quell this, especially if it's Hillary, to put a woman on the ticket?
In all honesty, Trump-Fiorina is a very attractive ticket. Look, I think he's got a broad array of options.
But could that, all right, could that ticket resonate nationally to outsiders with no political experience to be president and vice president? Do you think that that's realistic?
Yeah, I think the American people are completely fed up with career politicians, with political institutions, with the relationship between elite media and elite government and elite politics. The voters are sour and they're angry. And that is what's fueling both Donald Trump and, ironically, Bernie Sanders, who, even though he's been on the public payroll his entire life, you know, is seen as some of an outsider.
Yeah. Very quickly, Carly, in the debate, good thing?
I think it's a great thing. First of all, I think anytime you have a woman attacking Hillary Clinton, you deny Hillary the opportunity to say, oh, you're just attacking me because you're a misogynist or because you're a sexist and you just don't like me because I'm a woman. That argument goes out the window with Carly Fiorina.
Biden and Warren, because she insinuated that, you know, he might have talked to her about that. Would that be a threat if he gets in the race and says, and Elizabeth Warren will be my VP?
Well, he would certainly need to do something to invigorate his chances, because the last time he ran for president, he got 1% of the vote and had to drop out in the caucuses. Joe Biden is a terrible candidate. He is a national joke.
And a plagiarist.
And a plagiarist.
To boot,
Gaffe a week. And he appeals to the exact same people that Hillary Clinton appeals to.
Yeah, so it'll be tough.
Establishment Democrats and labor leaders.
Right.
The energy in the Democratic Party is on the progressive left. That's where the energy is. And that's where Hillary Clinton is most vulnerable.
Always great to see you, the great Roger Stone.
Pleasure
Read
to
him
be
at
here.
StoneZone.com, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back with Newsmax contributor Alan Dershowitz. We'll talk about the Iran deal and Gwen Ifill. Yeah, have you heard about this one? Don't go away.